to April's Super Action Intensive Class Training. Super Action is part of the April Pictures group. It's one of April's newest intensive classes, and the main focus is making movies based on books that they read during the class. The overall objective of April Pictures is to develop the speaking ability and acquire various expressions. The specific objective of Super Action is to help students acquire various expressions by experiencing various steps of making films. So this class will focus on making movies, and they're going to go through all the different steps that you would do when making a movie. So it'll be in even more detail than just a thinking project. There are 4 levels that Super Action has, and it will begin with the Sprout level. So level 1 is from Sprout 1 to Sprout 2, and they will read in the 4-week intensive class just 2 books. So Give Us the Money and Girl on a Motorcycle. The level 2, it begins with the Sprout 2 level and will go until Sprout 3, and they also will read 2 books. For level 3, it's Sapling 1 to Sapling 2. This book is longer, Batman, so we'll only read 1 book over the 4-week course. And then level 4 is Junior Master 1 to Junior Master 2, and they also will read just 1 book, Superman. So now we're going to take a look at the actual components that make up a class. So right now we are going to talk about option B. And this is purely because my style, the way I would want to lead my class, follows this class structure. However, there is another option, option A, and if that fits your style more, then we absolutely encourage you to use that one. And for those details, you can refer to the program guide. So here we're looking at a 100-minute class, and we're looking at the odd week. So 100 minutes means that the students go to the school 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. And for odd weeks, we're talking about weeks 1 and 3. So these are the structures or the components that you're going to use throughout these lessons here. So during the first part of the class, the first 45 minutes, students will do reading time. And during that time, they will do reading of the book for 10 minutes. They will do a review, so asking leading questions for 20 minutes. And then they will have a script reading and then also make a script based on what they read for 15 minutes. And then they have that 5-minute break, and you come back for the rest of the 50 minutes, reading time part 2, and then you follow the same steps for the next set of pages. Moving on to the even weeks, we're still looking at a 100-minute class, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but even weeks, we're talking about weeks 2 and 4. And these are the lectures that you cover these components on. So the second week primarily focuses on making the movie itself. So the first 45 minutes, the first part you'll do is production. So during that time, they are going to brainstorm ideas about their script for 5 minutes. They will make a storyboard to get more details for 10 minutes. They'll make some props for the movie for 15 minutes, and then they will practice their script for 15 minutes. Then part 2 of the class, the next 50 minutes, they again repeat these steps for the next part of their script. And then the last step of the class is to actually record the movie itself. So during lessons or lectures 6 and 12 of the even weeks, students will actually film their movies. So the first part of the class will be preparation, the last final checkups for the movie. They should practice again so that it's smooth recording. You'll take a break, and the last 50 minutes you'll have a rehearsal, and then you'll also record the movie. Here, we're still looking at option B, class structure, but you'll notice that it's a 150-minute class, so students are staying at the school longer. And this really means it's a Tuesday, Thursday class, so the students come 2 times a week. So we're looking at the odd week, weeks 1 and 3, and what you cover during these lectures here. So during part 1 of the class, they'll do the reading time, same components that we covered during the 3-day class, reading for 10 minutes, review or asking leading questions for 20 minutes, and then script reading and script creation for 15 minutes. They'll have a break, and then they'll follow the same steps. And then during the third part of the class, the last 45 minutes, they'll practice the scripts that they've made. moving on to a Tuesday, Thursday class for the even week, so weeks 2 and 4, and lectures 3 and 7. This is where they're going to work on making their movie. So for the first part of the class will be production, so brainstorming about their script, storyboard making, prop making, script practice. They'll have a break, repeat those steps for the second script, and then part 3, they will practice for their movie. You now know the components that make up all class, but we can actually get into the methodology of how to teach it. So during reading time, there are 3 categories: reading, review, and script reading. And our goal is to get them to read and understand the story so that they can base their script off of it. The first step of reading time is reading the book itself. You'll do that for 10 minutes, and there are assigned pages for every lecture. So to begin reading, you first want to talk about the picture on the cover, get students to predict what they'll read about, and then you actually have to read it. So there's 2 options. You could read them the paragraph yourself, or you can have students read for you. And so you'll just do that, maybe paragraph by paragraph with the students. The next component of reading time is review, and this will take about 20 minutes. So basically, it's very similar to creative reading. You're just asking them leading questions based on every paragraph that they read. So you can think about it just like creative reading. Read a paragraph, ask leading questions. Read another paragraph, ask leading questions. And you'll do that for all the assigned pages for the lecture. The last part of reading time is script reading and also the creation of the script. And you generally do this for 20 minutes. So when it's script reading and creation time, the first thing that you're going to do is read this script to the students with the tone that you'll want them to portray. Next, you can have the students read the script line by line so that they know all the words and they're familiar with what's going on. And then finally, you'll have students create their own script. So for levels 1 and 2, the lower levels, then students are provided a script and they can add to it if your class is able to do that. For levels 3 and 4, really no script is provided, and then students will write their own because they're a higher level. Second part of super action intensive class is the production. So the objective for production is for students to experience the various steps of filmmaking, such as setting, background music, props, and costumes. So students will go through more steps than what they usually do in a creative thinking project. For the first part that they'll experience is brainstorming different ideas for their script. Next, they will make a storyboard going into even more details about what they brainstormed on. And finally, they will make props in the class for their movie. The first component in production is brainstorming, and students will do that for only 5 minutes in the class. So the first thing you do is just divide them into the groups that they'll work in, and then you have students choose the scene that they want to film. So you can think about it like this. During the reading time, students write and create their own script. However, they're going to have many scripts during each part of the book. So they'll have beginning part of their script, they'll have a lot of body scripts for the plot, and then they'll finally have an ending script. But that will be way too much for students to actually record. So what you do is you have students choose the body scripts that they actually want to record. Every group will do the beginning and end, so at least it makes sense, and then they will pick a few body paragraphs that they have time for. The second part of production is the storyboard making, and this will take place for 10 minutes. So definitely during the first class, you want to help students understand what a storyboard is. So you go into the scene, they can draw a picture, and then you'll ask them some questions, whatever you want them to cover in their movie. Next, you'll have students create the storyboard. So give them time to draw the picture for their scene and write the details that you've asked them to. And finally, you'll have students imagine the character's feeling and the atmosphere while making the storyboard, and this will help them get into character later. So you'll notice here that this movie will consist of 3 different parts. And I said in the last slide that they will always do the beginning. So every group is going to have the beginning scene. Then here they would pick the body that they want to do, and maybe this would be more than one. And then, of course, they would have the end, and every group will have that. And the last step of production is the prop making, and this will take about 15 minutes. So really all you do is get students into their groups and they make the props that they have brainstormed and written down on their storyboard. And then you just walk around helping them. And the good thing is that during the reading time, the first part of the class, students already wrote their script. So if you read ahead, you might be able to help them brainstorm and have some things prepared before the class to help stay in this 15-minute time slot. The third part of super action intensive class is the performance. And really the objective here is we just want them to practice their script so that they're confident when they actually record. So for script practice, you have about 15 to 20 minutes, and you just make sure that the students have memorized the intro and ending scripts. Those are the most important to help the movie make sense. They must have those memorized. Then you have students practice reading the script with their props, because just because they can say the lines, then adding a prop is a whole nother thing. So have them practice and they'll be more comfortable with it. And then have them switch roles and practice the script if you have time. And the last part of super action intensive class is the filming, and we want to just record the students' performance. And so there's 3 parts to the filming. One is preparation. The second part is rehearsal, and then the filming itself. For preparation, you have about 15 minutes, and you have students check all of their props, the music and setting, make sure everything's in place, and then they practice the script with their props. So maybe that there's one part that they struggle with all the time, so have them practice that scene. The second part of filming is a rehearsal, and you have about 25 to 35 minutes for that. So you have a rehearsal for the performance. You make sure that students have memorized their lines. And the next step is what I think is most important. You watch their performance and you coach their acting skills. So students generally aren't able to do it all by themselves. They need you to help them and give them confidence. So let them try. And if you see that you can offer them some suggestions, and actually coach them through that. And the last part is filming. So you have 15 to 20 minutes for that. You film the student's performance, and you definitely want to use some basic editing to enhance their movie. So this is their final product. Their movie is their final product of this intensive class. Parents will definitely be waiting to see something quite impressive, and it will be much easier to do that by doing some basic editing. And so in the next video, we'll show you some small tips that you can use to make a successful movie. We have some available materials to help you during the class. The program guide. You'll also have a script for students, and you'll have storyboard handouts for students to use and draw on. And then there will be a script for teachers if you wanted any help to brainstorm ideas. So just in closing, I think that this class sounds like so much fun. I think it'll really help, shy students to feel more comfortable and confident speaking out. And it's something that I think that they can, really look back on years later and think, wow, I made something special. So again, we're going to provide another video to give you some useful, tangible tips when actually recording the movie. Good luck.